Hi, I'm Roland Nanzi, founder of New Home Sales Plus. Welcome to Pro on the Go, where you meet your speakers that are going to be at the retreat. And I am so honored to introduce my friend and colleague, Tom Daddario. Tom, it's nice to see you.
It's great to be here, Roland.
Well, thanks for agreeing to be on Pro on the Go. In a few minutes, I'm going to turn my famous hourglass over and we'll have 10 minutes just to chat. But before I do that, let me introduce you formally and read your bio and that kind of stuff so people can get a real feel for your experience. So I first met you, Tom, in the 80s, right? In the mid 1980s?
Yes, that's correct.
And probably 80% of the people listening or watching this weren't even born in the 80s, or maybe were just being born. Who knows? But you were actively selling back then, and I've always been really impressed with you. You did training with me back in the 90s, which was to this day some of the best training I ever received. So you were really part of my growth, which I greatly appreciate. And now I'm really happy and honored to say that you're part of my company as a senior VP of training. You go out on the road and work with folks. But one of the other things about you, Tom, which is the mantra of my company, of New Home Sales Plus, is I only want to have people that are trainers that have done it themselves, that do it themselves, have done it themselves. So you're actually still out there. So you are in your model home right now, Providence Homes in the Jacksonville area. Is that?
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, sorry, right, yeah, close by there. And so you're actively out there selling and making things happen. And then you'll go and work with clients of ours, which is wonderful. So you have that authenticity of somebody that's out there actually doing it and working in today's market and evolving in today's market. So thank you for that. So yeah, let me read your bio real quickly. So it's here, and then we're just going to jump in with our 7 questions, and we'll turn the egg timer over. Sound good?
Yep.
My glasses crossed. I'm going to need my glasses for this. So give me 1 second. Yep. Tom Daddario, you, the man himself, has held leadership roles for over 20 years. He has managed teams in small private companies as well as national companies, which is massively impressive. This year, he published his 3rd book, this one on leadership, A Leader's Handbook for Success. I have it somewhere around here. I enjoy it very much. It's very practical, which outlines the 17 traits of successful leaders. Many of the people Tom managed have gone to become sales managers, marketing managers, and division presidents. Isn't that the greatest compliment when your proteges go on and succeed?
Always, yeah.
Good. Others have also started their own real estate agencies. Wonderful. Well, good. So without any further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Tom Daddario. Let me do that. Let me set this aside. All right, Tom. Let me turn over the egg timer here, or this hourglass, whatever the heck it's called. We're off. So, Tom, what sets you apart from other experts in your field?
Well, you sort of touched on it a little bit. I think the fact that I have such a wide variety of experience in the new home business. As you mentioned, from sales to sales leadership to running companies on my own, spending time on the construction side, and then, making the decision in 2017 to come back on the sales floor. Just to, it was just a good decision for a lot of reasons, mostly because the family had grown at that point and I didn't necessarily have to be home on weekends. But it also gave me an opportunity to really hone my selling skills and the things that you and I teach all the time to our students, and try some new things and learn some new things and some things that you taught me, you reminded me of along the way, have really helped me to become really an experienced person that they can go to bounce questions off about, what do you think about this? Why didn't this work? What works better? What's a better way to do it?
Right. And without sounding like you've been there, done that, this is, I think, our 5th one of these up down cycles. So the first couple, when you're in it, you're like, oh my goodness, this is really stressful. Am I going to survive? By the time this one came along, you and I were predicting this last year with amazing sort of accuracy, really. So now you're equipped to deal with it. And so are the students that you and I teach. So it's wonderful. With that in mind, with this shifting market, what are your top tips?
Well, I think we all have to stay calm. Salespeople as a group tend to be scat. They tend. How can I say this? They're very emotional, and they tend to get overreact sometimes to these types of situations. I think the key right now is to, stay put,
Mhm,
stay calm,
mhm.
go back to the basics. You and I had this discussion the other day. Last year, you just had to be able to, talk to people,
Show up and not
and
mess up kind
you
of
were going
stuff.
to sell
Yeah,
houses. People
right.
came in and said, "Where do I sign?" It didn't take a tremendous amount of skill. Well, now we have to go back. We have to know our competition better than we know our own. We have to do all the building our business, the things that you and I have always talked
Yep.
about, the blocking and
Yeah.
the tackling, as we say in the base.
Referrals and
Yep,
realtors, and we love realtors
absolutely.
again,
Yep,
as we always should have done, and all that kind of
yep.
fundamentals. Follow up with a capital F.
Follow up. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine actually having to do that. Well, good. Well, thank you. Again, I know that anybody that has met you and works with you feels this way, that everything you say is authentic. It's stuff that you do, and it sets you apart, and you're still
Yep.
successful as a result. The theme of the retreat is better together. What does better together mean to you?
Well, I've thought about this question, and
Good.
I really think, again, it sort of dovetails on the question you just asked me. This last year, a salesperson, to a degree, could be fairly successful on their own,
Right.
and the realtors were coming to them, and they didn't necessarily have to ask for referrals and things like that. I think really, if we want to get back to being top producers in our markets, we've got to do those. We got to build those relationships with those top producers. You did a wonderful seminar with Beverly last week, I believe. And yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that webinar that, yeah,
yep.
I did a
And then
couple
you
actually, but yes, thank you.
talked a lot about building those realtor relationships.
Yeah.
It's more important than but also referrals. I mean, go back and now,
Huge.
if you have good customers and they're happy, now's a good time to go back and ask for referrals. And so it's, again, better together is you're going to do better using those assets that you have
Oh,
out there.
good. Yeah.
So that's what it means to me.
Those relationships that you're talking about with those realtors, and a relationship is it should be an authentic thing that you procure over time. It's not
Sure.
instantaneous, so it takes some hard work. I know that you and I, we worked together on a sales floor very briefly, but we've known each other for, gosh, whatever that is, 30 plus years, and we've always created our realtor farm base and gone back out and revisited with those realtors and had coffee with realtors and had strategic ideas and the idea of referrals. If you have a big backlog, which most people do, I know some of them are struggling to maintain them with rates almost doubling, but when you have that nice big backlog, what a great source of future business, or what a springboard forward when you reach back out to them. So all those fundamentals, I think, are great.
Absolutely.
All right. So there's some business for everybody. Now to get to know the real Tom in the next 3 or 4 minutes, whatever my hourglass will allow for, let's get some personal stuff about you. Movie, TV, or books, what is your preference?
Well, I like all of them. I actually really enjoy television. It's kind of a sore spot between me and my wife.
Okay.
And particularly, I really like, as far as TV and movies, anything sci-fi. I've always been, even as a kid, I've always been kind of a sci-fi nut. Books, I'm a voracious reader. I'll read 25, 30 books a year.
Good. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I particularly enjoy books that have some reference, some true historical reference to the story.
Okay.
Because I find that educational to me, because I've always liked history as well.
Me too.
But that's kind of the.
All right. So, not putting on the spot, what is your favorite movie then, since you're a sci-fi movie buff? I'm going to write it down. I'm going to predict what you're going to say. And then
well, this might come as a surprise, but Elf is one of my favorite movies.
Elf. Oh, Elf. It's not a sci-fi movie after all.
It's not a sci-fi movie.
Elf is a cute. Every Christmas
it's a little like down that realm of fantasy, and I think that's you can just really lose yourself with that.
Nice.
That's probably one of my favorites.
How cute can that be? My son is like Elf. He's outgrown his bed. We just ordered a proper bed for the poor. He's 14 and he's like 6'1", and he's still got his bunk bed. So whenever I see him in there, I think it's like Elf, the poor dude. What about a favorite book, since you are historical novel fellow?
We have a local author here that I enjoy, Charles Martin. I read all his books. We actually sponsored a book signing at our club with him years ago before he got too famous. Super nice guy. So he's one that I like, and
All right.
his books are rooted in not just history, but Florida history. He
That's
talks
really
a lot about what's going on up and down the coast and things like that.
very interesting. And we have Stephen King lives in somewhere close to you, doesn't he? Isn't Stephen King
I don't know. I used to read every book he wrote. I kind of got away from his writing. It was
I think
a
he's
bit predictable.
Is it northwest Florida that you're in, or northeast Florida?
No, I'm northeast.
Northeast. No, then I think it is. I think it's up your way. Maybe it's Stewart or Hutchinson Island. I could have remembered.
Okay.
But I know he's a Florida guy. All right. What is your favorite pastime when not working?
So anything with the family would be number one. With the family, we really enjoy traveling to places we've not been, whether it's within the United States or outside the United States.
Lovely.
And in terms of activities, my wife, my son, and I are all we love to snow ski and we love to scuba.
Yeah.
And so usually our vacations, if we're not traveling, are something to do around those things.
Perfect.
If it's just me, I really like to get out and play golf.
You're
So
a good
that's
golfer.
I
remember that about you.
Yeah, so that's what keeps me busy.
Very cool. Last but not least, look at that. We're almost exactly on time.
Perfect.
What do your students enjoy most about you and your style, Tom?
Well, again, I think my experience, I think they understand very quickly that I'm authentic, that when I answer a question or present an idea, as we talked about earlier, it comes from being on the front line.
Yeah.
And, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell them I don't know, and I'll try to find out and get back to them. But I think it's that authenticity that I bring to any kind of training environment.
I agree with that. You're everybody that you've worked with, all of the builders that we work with, you've at some point you've done a Zoom with them, or you've met them at last year's retreat, and that is the commonality, as they say. He's been there, done that. He knows it. Also, what we didn't mention. Let me bring this over here. Almost out of time, but you are a licensed NLP coach, right? Neuro-linguistic programming, which we should have mentioned more of. I'm sorry, but that is an important facet of what you do. So Tom is always looking at people from a behavioral point of view. And are you adjusting now to me? Are you using some of your magic on me, or what's going on? I feel very connected, but I always do. So there we go.
No, I'm not using any of it on you right now.
No, you're taking some time off now. It's innate, right? It's second nature.
It's basically, it's another way to describe it is nonverbal communication.
Right.
That's really a little bit easier for people to understand. It's, we've all heard the term, what we say is, when we communicate, what we say is, what's the number, the smallest percentage. 30% of what we say is verbal. I forget the numbers, but the majority of it.
48% of words, if you believe that. I know that you and I have talked about whether that's really good, accurate.
Yeah.
It's less than 10% of the words.
Less than 10%. So if you can learn how to pick up on that communication that people are sending you, you can create rapport very, very quickly. And it's really fun to do when you really get it down. It's a lot of fun.
I've seen you do it with all types of salespeople and managers, as well as clients in the field, and it is building rapport quickly. It's amazing. At the retreat, you did the eye accessing and the mirroring and matching with voice, and it's just fascinating stuff that and you're going to share with everybody. So that is it. We're out of time. My wonderful friend Tom, thank you so much for sharing some information about yourself. And for those that want more of this man, we'll have to see you down on the beach November 2nd or 4th at the
Not a bad way to go.
All right, my friend. See you there.
Take care.
Bye.